Please welcome Meah from Chaos Radio.
Hello, it's 12 volts. That's quite good. Congratulations. We should do like a little we thought we were going to be really specials. Yes, well, we've covered 11 and a half hours or whatever it is. So that's a good start. Hello, my name's Tom Howe. I am head of content at Chaos Radio. All of us here work in community radio, so we all know there's a bit of chaos involved. But this particular chaos is very special. It's community helping all of society. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But just a bit about my role. I am a journalist by trade. And so I've worked in newspapers and magazines most of my career. And 2 years ago, joined Chaos to build a new, an exciting news team. Sounds very at command, doesn't it? A new and exciting news team for the community radio stations in Cornwall. Yes, this is my colleague, Howlett.
I won't repeat my name. I'm from Chaos Radio, but I'm also from the Cornwall Community Media Network, and that is what we're here to talk about today, which is all about collaboration. So this is actually our lovely colleague, Ross Lannon. We just put him on a photo because he's so photogenic. But yeah, that's why there's no photos of us in it. So the Cornwall Community Media Network, in a nutshell, is community radio stations, both Ofcom regulated, so on FM licenses, and also online stations that have joined together to work collaboratively. Talking you through the ones that we've got, obviously we're Chaos Radio, we're based in St Austell with that FM licence. We've got CHDN in Truro, Source FM in Falmouth and Penryn, Red Reef Radio, which has come back, used to hold an FM licence, but it's now an online-only station at the moment, Coast FM, Penzance and West Penwith, NCB Radio Online Bodmin, and Islands FM, ours old silly. We've still not been there. We're trying to get the free ticket, but we're not got it yet. But the idea of it was we saw that we were having the same challenges as community radio stations, like a lot of us do, and that's why these events are amazing, because we can talk, share challenges, answer questions, help each other out, and we wanted to do that more regularly locally in Cornwall, and it made sense for us to join together. And we were supported by BBC Radio Cornwall, our BBC local radio station. We have an amazing connection there with the assistant editor, Daphne Skinnard, and she saw and spoke to all of these community stations separately, and they were all saying the same things. And she thought, why aren't we bringing each other together around a table to talk, to hear more, to create solutions, and also there's sometimes in the past has been a bit of hostility between local stations. If they feel like, are you stepping on my toes? Are we doing the same thing? And we just wanted to get rid of all that rubbish. We didn't need it. So yeah, we built the network. It's been going probably 3-4 years. This is really bad. I should have checked this. Oh, probably. Okay, let's go with definitely 3, maybe 4. And it's just been a brilliant way for us to collaborate. And Tom's just going to run through how we do that day to day, year round.
Yeah, so one of the amazing things, because we're all working across different demographics. In Cornwall, we have all of the excellent sort of community stations that have all come together. One way that we do work collaboratively is through this, sorry, I'll have to get the glasses out, the Cornwall Media Network portal. So this is where we upload pieces of audio that might be something that we think is of particular value to other stations in Cornwall as well, something that might be county-wide, a very special guest that we might have had, sharing that with a cue, a little description of who's talking and what they're talking about, an expiration date, things like that. And that is just, we talked about the audio library for the Our Earth Week earlier. That is literally just a plug and paste. It might be something. Oh, Meah from Chaos talked to so-and-so about this, and this is it. And there you go. Simple as that. Just plug and play, ready to go. That's really helpful because the different stations are all at different parts of their journey. They've all got a different level of income, volunteers, of staff, of equipment, of capacity. So this way, we're all able to shout about the things that are really important in our areas and share the wealth of community use as well. And we also do that through regular meetings. So how regular? Monthly, there you go. Regular monthly meetings where we sort of discuss the positives, how we can address the negatives, and maybe constructively look at doing things differently and making sure that all of those stations, all of those areas are getting the most value out of the collaboration. As well, we do lovely socials. So one social lately was the opening of a brand new studio for one of the stations, Source, based in Falmouth. So the group get together, and actually that's an opportunity to kind of talk shop, but in I suppose a less kind of formal setting. So actually you get working together, knowing each other, and you share your passion for community radio. And as I said there, sharing is a really important thing. Sharing knowledge, sharing equipment, sharing volunteers, and sharing content as well. Like I said, everyone's in a different parts of their journey, and it is all about upskilling and sharing, which seems to be the key word.
So one of the successes I want to talk you through with the network was training. So one of the biggest challenges we found is that stations might have volunteers come to the door and they may have zero experience. And they were then facing, how do we build a training program? How do we get them ready to be on air or to be a valuable volunteer for us as a station? And that takes a lot of time and takes a lot of thinking. And so what we wanted to do is to not only provide a bit of training before the volunteers go to the respective stations, but also to drum up and encourage people in our community to say, we're here, we really want you to work with us. So come and have a taster, come and find out what it's like. So we created the Digital Skills Bootcamp. We've run 3 years of it now. And what it entails is 5 weeks. So it sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's 5 weeks of 3-hour sessions weekly and a bit of a celebration at the end. And it really is a taster, a bite of everything to do with community radio. So it could be everything between production, community news, engineering, funding, all those bits that people might not realize are what we're dealing with all the time. And they could be really valuable as an asset to a station, but not see that in themselves and not see the need that is out there in their community. So we invite them in, we do training, workshops, we do Q&As. They get to meet all of the different stations. They can bring ideas to us, and we can try and make that happen following the boot camp. And this is something I built myself. I'm really, really proud of it. And we had 5 people in our first year, and I thought, you know what? I didn't even expect 5. And then it just keeps growing, and we keep having to buy more biscuits, and we keep having to have bigger venues. But actually, I would have it no other way. It's so nice to see that people see the value in community radio, and they're really excited to get involved and to be part of it. So, yeah, definitely one of our successes for sure.
Doesn't it sound lovely? It's not all rosy, as we can all imagine. We've all got things that we're really proud of, but of course, all of the good things come with challenges, don't they, at the same time? So one of the big things that probably resonates with a lot of people is its capacity of volunteers. It's great getting volunteers involved, passionate volunteers who want to come and support what it is that you're doing, upskill themselves, support their community. But of course, with that comes their level of capacity, how much time they're able to give to you, how much time you're able to give to them as well. Some might have full-time jobs, which they will within their rights to have. Others might be at different levels of that journey that I mentioned as well, so might need a bit more intensive training. Others will just absolutely fly. So it is a challenge sometimes being able to work and get the best out of volunteers because, yes, you are sort of pigeonholed by the time that they're able to give and you're able to give that as well. And different targets and priorities. So one thing that we might be looking at in terms of what we're able to do in terms of outside broadcasts with equipment and funding and the amount of staff we have and the volunteers, that might not be able to be replicated by another station in the community. So they might have different priorities. They also might have different targets because we might be looking to take the next step. And actually, that's quite a grand step, but maybe we talk about journey. maybe another community station is further behind and they're taking performative steps. So working on those targets and priorities together to ensure that everybody's getting the most value out of things like shares, or we'll talk about that in a second, but making sure that everyone is getting the most value out of the network.
So we are ambitious as a network, and we can see the value in collaborating, and there are a few things that are on our agenda at the moment, so I just want to be transparent with you where we're at. We do want to come up with a bit of a memorandum of understanding, and that's because our next step is we want to do a lot more of joint projects looking at funding bids and advertising across county-wide businesses. So we want to build sort of a document that makes sure everyone feels secure, reassured of what we're aiming to do and what we're going to get out of the projects that we're going to do moving forward. And as it says up there, we're hoping to do county-wide advertising, not just with local businesses, but also we have partnerships with NHS and council. They do have messaging that they want to get out there, and there's a lot more value to doing it, not just in one town, but across all of the stations that we just showed you there, and with different audiences as well that they bring. We want to keep expanding that shared content that we're doing. Obviously, at the moment, it's more ad hoc with volunteers putting up the content that they're doing, but we want to be way more open with sharing programs and simulcasting and stuff like that across the network, and doing outside broadcasts, because Cornwall is amazing. It's got so many great events, and I imagine that's the same in your areas as well. So yeah, we can join together and do bigger projects and events, just like we were hearing earlier this morning as well. Now, I just want to touch on a highlight that happened this year. So we wanted to shout about what we do in Cornwall as community radio stations. I imagine it's the same across the UK, that the landscape's really changing for us in Cornwall. We're seeing our BBC local radio being shared a lot more in Devon as well. And we're also seeing commercial radio being less and less in our area. Not great, but also really cool opportunity for community radio stations to be in that gap, and to show people that we're here and we're ready to give them that great content. So we wanted to shout a little bit, because we're quite modest down here in Cornwall. And we said, we're here, we're a viable alternative, come listen to us. And we also used it as a way to promote the Blue Camp that we were running in the spring. So we decided on Saturday, 1st of February, to have 6 hours of broadcasting, that every station took the same broadcast. So we started at Chaos Radio. I think we ended in Falkland. We did a little bit of a loop. It didn't really make geographic sense, but it sounded good. So that's the main thing. And we, shared the same simulcast. Came with its technical difficulties, I will say that, if you do the same thing. But we've learned from it. We're ready for next year, so that's good. And it was a brilliant way, because listeners that might be loyal to us were hearing all these other stations that are across their county. And with Cornwall, we're quite unique, that you might live in East Cornwall, but you might work in West Cornwall, and you drive through all of those stations not knowing these great presenters, content, the stories that they're creating, but we just advertised it for them all that day. So they were able to hear from different presenters, hear different styles of radio. We got great engagement on it on social media, as well as during the broadcast, and we're going to do it again. So that's good news, a success for sure. So that was definitely one of our highlights. And that leads us to you, if there's any questions, please.
It sounds brilliant. Right, thank you very much indeed. Couldn't help but notice there, I think it's well over 12 months ago now, I was down in London at ECNS, and one of the presentations was by head of BBC Law, Grevy, who was quite positive by saying that they wanted to share or work or collaborate with community radio stations. Obviously, noticed your partnership with BBC Radio Cornwall. I saw James Dundon in the corner. I know James pretty well. Yeah. That's my question. Does it help to have a contact who's very within the BBC local area, who's very supportive of what you guys are doing within what you are very unique theatre and your handlers.
Yeah, 100%. Daphne, who is our contact at BBC Radio Cornwall, is an amazing advocate for radio of all types. So she just loves it. So she does community radio, she loves commercial radio, obviously has worked in the BBC for decades now, and she sees the real value of working together because Cornwall, as we were saying, with content and how we share it and how we tell those important stories, she wants to see that across the board. The way that they do support us practically, they let us use their spaces. So we might hold just some of the bootcamp training sessions within their station in Truro. We also go and meet some of the presenters. We have live interviews after the bootcamp. We throw them right in, you know. They've done 5 weeks and we're like, right, go do a live interview with one of the presenters. So they get to meet the staff, see the equipment, but also she chairs these monthly meetings, co-chairs them with us, and she just has so much what am I trying to say? Yes, insightful information about radio that we can all glean from, and she's a great kind of glue between those community radio stations because obviously she's someone that we all trust. She brings us together and she wants to see community radio do well because it benefits all stations if radio is doing well in our county. So yeah.
Well done. Great. You definitely. Brilliant. What you're doing here is brilliant. I think other areas, I think us in Sussex, where we've got 6 or 7 community radio selections as well, could really benefit from talking to each other, which I don't think we do. Because I think some stations feel there is rivalry. They feel we're 15, 20 miles apart. I noticed there are some other community stations in Cornwall which what you didn't miss. Is that because they feel that it's rivalry? But obviously you've got challenges.
Yeah. I can't answer personally of what was going through their brains, but the invite was extended to them all, and I think sometimes when we were talking about that journey in the stations, sometimes they're not at that point where they're ready to collaborate and feel like they can give value to what we're doing, which is wrong. They definitely can. And like everyone that is part of that network, whatever part of their journey they're on, they are so valuable. And as you said, there is value in talking to each other and just getting rid of that rubbish rivalry. It just doesn't need to be there. A listener doesn't need that. A station doesn't need that. So yeah, there are stations that aren't part of our network, and we are always waiting for them to join. The door is open. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think some people still aren't quite ready to do that collaboration, and that's okay with us. We're just open door, bring a friend.
Kind of talked about the molds, the combined media pack, the combined advertising rate.
Yeah.
To advertise, and that is so difficult because you might be broadcasting to an all-store population of 20,000 maybe, whereas Truro might be 50,000.
Yeah.
Totally different rates. How do you create a rate card which can combine all the stations? So that is going to be a challenge, I know.
It is going to be a challenge, and that is what we're trying to sort at the moment. And when we do have answers, we'll feedback. Yeah.
Any other questions? Gareth?
Thank you very much indeed. I mean, hard not to draw parallels between what you're doing and what, for instance, Still Wales Community Radio Network are doing, WCRN. I mean, you think maybe what you're doing and what they're doing in Wales is maybe an idea that maybe there should be more, if not local level, then maybe some kind of regional community radio networks to build on. You know that.
Yeah, the stuff that we see that they're doing in Wales is a real inspiration to us. So when we came up last year for the first time to Cardiff, we were like, yeah, we're on the right track. They're doing it and we can see that it works. So for sure, we draw inspiration. We talk to Nathan a lot all the time about what they're doing, and we're hoping that we can do some of the things that they feel already. We're still kind of in our infancy, so we're feeling it all now and just trying to work through it together. But for sure, I see the value in that happening regionally. If is what works in your region. It works for us in Cornwall. We need that because we do struggle if we're not working together. Might not work in other areas. I'm not great with the UK map and knowing how that might work, but Cornwall needed it. We made it happen, and we're seeing the real value in it for sure.
I should say nation or region.
Brilliant. Can we give a massive round of applause to Tom and Meah? So